The 1930s changed everything. This was the era of the skyscraper wars. Architects were no longer just building offices, they were building ego. Every week, the Chrysler Building and the Empire State Building battled for a single title, the tallest on Earth. Men sat on steel beams hundreds of feet in the air, eating lunch with the world at their feet. No harnesses, no fear, just the relentless drive to touch the sky. By the time the 1950s arrived, the Art Deco spires had defined a new American identity. New York wasn't just a city anymore, it was the capital of the world. But growth isn't always pretty. In the 1970s and 80s, the city groaned under its own weight. The subway cars became canvases for graffiti, and the streets felt the heat of a city on the edge. Yet New York has a way of reinventing itself. Out of the grit came the glass. The turn of the millennium brought a new aesthetic, thinner, taller, and more transparent. From the solemn resilience of One World Trade Center to the futuristic curves of Hudson Yards, the skyline became a mirror, reflecting a city that refuses to stay the same for even a single second. As we stand in 2026, we look toward a New York we once only saw in science fiction. We see forests growing on the sides of skyscrapers. We see drones weaving through the canyons of Wall Street. What will this island look like in another 100 years? Perhaps the streets will be parks, and the cars will be memories. But one thing is certain, as long as there is a New York, there will be a horizon that hasn't been reached yet. Because this city wasn't built to be finished. It was built to evolve. Before the grid, there was the green. Long before the first brick was laid on Wall Street, this island was a dense wilderness of hills, swamps, and trout streams, known to the Lenape as Mannahatta, the island of many hills. But the arrival of the Dutch and then the British transformed the landscape into a feverish port of trade. As we move into the 1800s, the city is a chaotic masterpiece of wood and stone. There is no plan, just an explosion of growth moving north. You can see it in the early maps, a tangle of narrow streets in lower Manhattan slowly giving way to the rigid, ambitious grid of 1811. This was the moment New York decided to be a giant. It was a bet on the future, carving out avenues that would one day hold millions, even when the population was barely 100,000. By the time the Brooklyn Bridge began to stretch its granite fingers across the East River in 1870, the world knew. New York was no longer a port. It was a phenomenon. As we look forward, the evolution of New York is taking a radical turn toward the organic. The city of 2070 is a solar punk dream. The harsh concrete canyons are being softened by vertical forests, skyscrapers that breathe, filtering the air and providing carbon-neutral energy to the millions within. In this future, the street is no longer for the car. Automated drones and magnetic transit pods hum silently through the air, while the ground level has been reclaimed as a continuous park. We see the low line, underground gardens lit by solar fiber optics, and massive seawalls that have become beautiful, habitable terraces. This is the New York of 2100. It is a city that has finally found a way to grow without consuming the planet. The skyline is no longer just a collection of buildings. It is a living, breathing ecosystem. Because as long as there is a New York, there will be a new dream of what a city can be.
New York was not built on a plan. It was built on a promise. In the mid-1800s, Manhattan was still a collection of villages connected by mud. The harbor was the heart of the world, a forest of wooden masts. But the city was suffocating. It needed to bridge the gap. The Brooklyn Bridge wasn't just stone. It was a psychological breakthrough. It proved that we could conquer the rivers that hemmed us in. As the towers rose, so did the price of land. Investors began looking at the sky as the next frontier. The 1890s brought the first skyscrapers, buildings that defied gravity. Structures like the Flatiron became symbols of a new, sharp-edged century. But these early giants were made of heavy stone and brick. They were limited by the weight of their own walls. Then came the steel frame, the skeleton of the modern world. Suddenly, the only limit was the imagination of the architect. By 1900, Lower Manhattan was already becoming a canyon of shadow. The sun struggled to reach the cobblestones below. The city was dense, loud, and vibrating with immigrant energy. Every street corner was a marketplace of languages. The subway was born in 1904, a subterranean miracle. It allowed the city to breathe, moving millions beneath the chaos. But as the people moved, the skyline raced to keep up. New York was preparing for its greatest era of growth. The Gilded Age had set the foundation for the Age of Steel. And the world was watching this island transform, from a colonial port to the capital of human ambition.